How is everybody? It's Paul with Bullfrog Nutrition. I've got Doug Nostrant with me, and I'm gonna let Doug talk to you guys for most of this part. But what I wanted to say is that there's a lot of hype out there about pre-workout supplements. A lot of people like to use pre-workout supplements. I personally like to use them. I know Doug does as well. But it's a spectrum. There's different ends of the spectrum. There are non-stimulated pre-workouts, there's high-stimulated pre-workouts, and everything in between. This store in particular, we focus on low to completely non-stimulated pre-workouts for lots of different reasons, health purposes, but also for your fitness goals. One of the first things that I did when we came into the Sylvania area was look for some credible gyms, some credible trainers in the area, which led me to Doug, and I'll kind of let Doug tell you guys about the experience, kind of the first time we met, kind of the same, the morals that Doug and I have together, and then also the things he's accomplished and who he likes to work with.
My name's Doug Nostrant, and I own Alpha Fitness. I'm a 30-year veteran of the sport of powerlifting. I've done some bodybuilding. I'm a strength coach, I'm a personal trainer, and I'm also a strength coach at Springfield High School. Paul came into my gym one day, and within about 5 minutes I knew that Paul and I were on the same page. We started talking about youth fitness, adult fitness, all different levels of fitness in the industry, and how we both believed that the industry in some aspects was headed in a direction that we didn't necessarily agree with. And we started talking about the differences between stimulated type products and then low stim or non-stim products. And me being a high school strength coach, I thought it was extremely important that all of my athletes and almost all of my clients in general receive the best products they can based on the best ingredients that they can get and the lowest amount of stimulant. Because it's always been my belief that whether I was powerlifting, at an international level, breaking world records, doing things like that, I didn't need a ton of stimulants. Matter of fact, I wanted to be as controlled and calm as I could. So when Paul and I were talking about stimulants, I just was like, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. I needed an expert in this area that could, partner with me, help me come alongside of the things I was trying to accomplish, and the people at my gym, and give kids, parents, mom, dads, people off the street the best information. Paul didn't believe in high stim products. I don't believe in high stim products. I think there's a time where you might be driving down the road and you need a cup of coffee or a thing, but you don't need 400 or 500 milligrams of caffeine before a workout. I mean, to me that seems absurd. It seems a couple hundred milligrams, like I said, a cup of coffee, that makes a lot more sense. You want your blood vessels to dilate. You don't want to have constricted. You want to get as much flow into the region, the legs, the back, the arms, whatever area you're working. And certainly if you're looking on a performance level, the last thing that you want is to be shaky. You don't want to be out of control. You don't want to be fluttery, jittery, any of those things. And you certainly don't want to have any issues with breathing or heart palpitations, which some of the products on the market now are so high that you're going to get these no matter what. So we were on the same page from day one, and that's how I trust all of my clients, all of my student athletes, everybody, all of them. They get a Bullfrog card and they come in here and they buy, and they get good advice. And I can kind of step away from the supplement side of the industry and rely on Paul and Gabby here at Bullfrog to take care of that for me and my clients.
And we know you're a humble guy, you don't like to brag, but can you tell us some of your accomplishments that you've had, some of the expertise that you bring to the table?
Let's see. I first started competing and lifting for the U.S. Army team at Fort Hood, Texas. My first competition was in 1987. I've won local bodybuilding shows, Mr. Glass City, Mr. Toledo, the Key to the Sea, these are all bodybuilding shows here locally in the early 90s. I've coached youth athletics for over 20 years. I've been a certified strength coach for over 16. I hold 3 IPL Masters World Records in powerlifting. My squat, my bench, and my total are all world records. I have 5 American records in the USPA in 2 different weight classes. So I've been at this a long time. I also coach my wife, Candy, who has 7 IPL drug tested world records. And my son Dylan has an American record that he received in high school. He benched 353 pounds as a 17-year-old 170-pounder. So I also have Division I athletes all over the country. I have a kid that I work with in the summer times who's an All-American. I've got a couple kids getting ready to head out for D1 football and softball girls. I've got lots of softball girls all over the place. So, but I've been at this a long time.
So you guys can take this advice from someone who is absolutely an expert when it comes to anything that has to do with fitness. And you know, like Doug said, we've been on the same page since day one. This is an unscripted, unedited video that we're filming here, that we're just kind of sitting here talking to you guys about, you know, what we believe not only pre-workouts should be, but especially with young kids, especially with teenagers, which Doug works with, you know, a lot of teenagers, a lot of even early 20s. So these are our thoughts, our beliefs, again, unscripted, unedited. Be careful who you're getting your information from. That's the other thing. Know where you're getting your information. Know that it's a credible source. Know that it wasn't, you know, edited, tinkered with, things like that. Know that, you know, the supplement store you're going into has some education, some background when it comes to the fitness industry.
I've had experiences over the years where I've had athletes, you know, they come and ask me questions, and I didn't have Bullfrog, and I'd send them to other places, and you know, they'd come back in the gym and they'd have a bag full of, you know, products, and half of them in there I'm like, you don't need, you know. But they were working on commissions, they were, you know, whatever that situation was, and it wasn't reliable. So for a time, I was bringing in a small line of supplements that I was using and, you know, promoting to the people I was training because of the types of ingredients. Well, when Paul walked in my gym that day, I just saw this opportunity, one, to help support a local business, and two, help some people that had the same mindset of, you know, stimulants and supplements and all these things, diet and everything as far as training. I mean, obviously the guy trains, you know, you walk the walk, talk the talk, and he knows. So I don't have to be a supplement expert. I have my beliefs and I have my science that I've read, but I can send them in here to Bullfrog, and I know that they're going to be taken care of, and they're not going to be sold something. My son's walked into this very store, and you know, Gabby was like, "I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sell you that particular product because I know your dad doesn't want you to have it, and two, you don't need it." And I mean, I respect that. I think that's above board. So, and I think a lot of people in this multi-billion-dollar industry are just completely, you know, sales driven, and that's all they're looking for. And that's part of what happens with the products. And Paul knows more about this than I do, but I mean, caffeine's cheap, and you can dump a bunch of caffeine into a product, and if you know, sell it to a bunch of kids and they're jittery, they think they're getting something from it, and all they're getting is, you know, constricted blood vessels, and they're just not getting where they need to be. Kids need blood flow, they need nutrition, they need good training, they need good advice. Well, if I can do the training part on an expert level, I want to send them someplace where they can get, you know, expert information. It's here at Bullfrog.
We appreciate that, and just make sure, again, my biggest thing that I like to harp on is just education. Know where you're getting your products from. Know that it's a credible source, not only the store, but the manufacturing facility. We even, you know, we interview manufacturers pretty frequently, you know, different owners from different companies. So know the company you're buying is credible, but also the store you're buying it from is credible. Read the labels. You know, don't take 15 scoops of something when you should be taking one. You know, 15 scoops of anything, I feel like, is kind of dangerous at that point. I mean, you could take 15 servings of asparagus, and it's going to be a pretty intense water diuretic. So, I mean, there's, you know, 15 servings of anything is pretty ridiculous.
Too much of a good thing is still too much. So,
right.
Yeah.
So just, you know, get your news from credible sources like Bullfrog Nutrition. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you guys learned something from myself and definitely Doug. So thank you, Doug, for joining us, and make sure you guys pay attention and look for my first Supplement Science Sunday video coming soon.